Hey everyone, welcome back to Afterthought FM. Spoilers are ahead. Okay, someday I'll be able to shut up about that, but whatever. So today I watched Predators, the 2010 version, and this movie, I know it's a product of 2010 and so it's cheesy, but it's actually kind of a fun ride. And it asks like a pretty simple question. Like, what if the predator wasn't hunting on Earth? What if it brought the prey to an arena? Like instead of invading our world, this predator turns humans into like game animals, and there's like an alien preserve situation. And I kind of like that. It kind of like it gives like the lore a deeper sort of feel where you're like, oh, okay, maybe these are different predators, and maybe we'll get to that. So, okay. The opening of this film is very immediate disorientation. Our main character guy, whose name I consistently forget, I wrote it down, his name is Royce or whatever. He is falling from the sky. He's like wakes up mid-fall and he starts screaming. There's no setup. There's no mission briefing. We have no context. It's just confusion and, oh God, we're all going to die. As he goes along, like immediately once he hits the ground, he starts like gathering strangers, like a little Mother Goose, a very angry Mother Goose with the very best Batman voice he can come up with. By the way, it's so annoying. It's Adrian Brody. It's Adrian Brody, the pianist guy, and he's doing his best Batman. We're gonna call him Batman. Okay, so he's collecting people, and everyone he collects feels pretty dangerous. There's mercenaries, soldier, there's like a cartel enforcer, there's Yakuza, there's a convict who we hate, but we'll get to that later. There's like, I think one of them's an assassin. It's just kind of like, oh, and there's a doctor, and you're like, why are these specific people chosen? Like, none of them are civilians except seemingly the doctor. They're not scientists. They're not colonists. I'm sorry. He's not a scientist. He's not a colonist. He's not a hunter. He's not a killer. The doctor is who I'm talking about. He's like, doesn't fit in. Everyone else is a killer. Everyone else has done some fucked up shit. But he's just kind of like afraid of everything the whole way. And my like red flag was immediately raised. I was like, I don't know. I don't like this. I don't understand. I don't trust him. But he's kind of a bumbling idiot the whole time. So, the selection is, they were not abducted randomly, is what that selection means, I think. It's like they were curated. So it's not like it's not like the predator stalks the preserve with like ordinary people. They want a challenge. Our predator wants a challenge. So, okay. This is also the biggest lore expansion that we've seen visually. I know there's a lot of comic books. We're not talking about those. We could dig in. It would take too long. But in the films, this is like a much bigger expansion of lore than we've seen. They're not on Earth. The stars, the planets, the sun all of it's completely wrong, for Earth anyway. I think this is the one that explores the Predator's infrastructure a little deeper. And it's cool. I mean, in the last one, Predator 2, we did see a lot of the trophies in the ship and like that there's more predators, and we saw all that, and that was really cool. But this one is like, okay, so here's another planet. Maybe it's their planet, or maybe it's not. Maybe it's just a planet they use as an arena. It's kind of cool. And it kind of, they're not just hunters. They are. There's an entire hunting system. It's not that they just go to one planet and they're like, hey, this is fun. They're like, no, we have a game system, We're like doing the whole ancient Roman thing. This is their Colosseum. And there's traps. And there's not just humans as prey. There's all kinds of other critters. There's like humanoid thing that like has bugs crawling out of it. I don't know. There's goo. It's gross. And then there are like weird spiky boar pig things that actually I think are not game. I think that those are like what humans use dogs for. I think those are dogs to predators. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot of new stuff introduced. So this is trophy hunting like on a galactic scale. I think that's just kind of cool. Like humans are not special in this. Like we're just one game, just that they could pick out of a hat. So immediately when we get into this arena, we start realizing it's not always about just like immediately killing them either. All these different beings. Sometimes they pressure test you. They're stressing you. They're separating you. They're watching you adapt to your environment to see, okay, how's this one gonna react or handle the situation we've thrown them in, and can we do something cool about it? Or how is this one gonna inspire us to improve our weapons next time if it does kill us? Which is really cool, by the way, because in addition to the trophies that the predators get, this one alludes to the fact that they're constantly evolving their tech after each hunt if they get killed. I think that that's really cool. So the prey isn't only adapting to its environment, the predator is adapting to whatever the outcomes are. Anyway, I just think that that's like kind of a massive shift in understanding. The other shift in understanding is this one introduces the fact that the predators are hunting other predators. So there are big predators, and that seems to be one faction, and then there are a smaller group of predators, and I think that's a different faction or a clan, maybe, if that's what you want to call them. It's sort of like the big ones are hunting the smaller ones, and I think that's really interesting. So the politics between each of these factions would be interesting to dig into. Again, you guys, you go read the comic books. It's too much to get into for me, but I do love it. I think that that's like a really cool introduction. Okay. Speaking of all of that and civilization lore and everything, Hanzo is the Yakuza guy, and he finds an old katana. And this is one of my favorite characters because he's not very flashy. He's just like quiet, and he realizes, looking at this katana, other humans have survived this for a very long time. The Preserve has history. And more than just Nolan, the crazy guy that had been a long-term survivor for he said 10 seasons. I don't know what that means. I don't know if that's 10 years or if that's I don't know what that means. I don't know. I don't know anything about hunting seasons, okay? But Nolan is basically living proof that survival is possible. And I think Hanzo sees that and goes, okay, so this guy survived for this amount of time. But this sword proves this has been going on for probably centuries. And in the middle of all that, we have Isabelle kind of recognizing the predator mythology as well. She's the woman that's on that planet, or that gets dropped on that planet. And she retells the story of the first movie, our military guys in the first movie. So she knows. And so it kind of, for the audience, it clicks to us that, okay, continuity. The first Predator movie and the second Predator movie, they both absolutely matter. Love that. I love that lore tie-in. We finally get to Edwin. The doctor. I'm sorry. I realize I didn't say his name before. The doctor that the whole time I was like, why are you here? It finally turns out that he's not a warrior. No, he's not a soldier. He's like the quiet, sneaky assassin. And that's probably why he's a doctor, because he knows all the shit about medication and he knows how to quietly kill people. And so all the poisonous plants he's been talking about on this planet, he's been collecting all the little neurotoxins like a little fucking creep. And this guy hears what Nolan has to say about survival, and this, in his little delusional noggin, he's like, I can survive here. It would be so much fun to kill everything here. I can be a predator too. I don't think he realizes the predators do not care, and they're like, that makes him more desirable as a target, right? He's kind of Delulu. But he sees the proof that someone can belong here, and I think that's fine. Now, something that I do want to mention is that there is a guy who has a machine gun. His whole personality is machine guns and explosives. In the previous two films, the predators have been the ones to try to blow themselves up. In this one, that machine gun guy, I think his name is Nikolai, he's the one who blows himself and the predator up. So it was kind of a cool little parallel moment. And also, before I forget about this, circling back to Hanzo, he solo duels that predator, or one of the predators, because there's three of the big ones. He solo duels one of them with his sword, the sword katana that he found. And it's like sword versus the Predator's like wrist blades. And it is like maybe one of the most honor-coded moments in in this particular film. Neither wins. They both die. It is so cool to see, like, they're not like comparable, but they're matched. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, they're compatible. Their fighting styles are compatible, human versus alien. And I thought that was like kind of a little cool, little mind-blowing moment there. It was like a ritual, like not really a horror, you know? And I don't know. I know that these are considered horror movies. I look at these movies as action movies. I'm trying to toe the line here, okay? Anyway, speaking of parallels, Royce becomes Dutch. Remember Dutch from the first movie? The big muscly Arnold guy rolls around in the mud. At the end, Royce is like, okay, I'm also gonna be weird and muscly, although he's a lot thinner. So it's weird when you see him with his shirt off, covered in mud. You're like, okay, well, I guess this is what we're doing now. He sets traps. He does the mud thing. But it's not simple fan service. It's very logical. So I think that was kind of cool. Like, he's still doing the Batman voice the whole time, which is annoying. But listen, the parallel was there. It kind of like ties in the lore from the other two films. I think it's kind of cool. Now, these bigger predators, I know that there's mention that they're like quote unquote super predators. It's not really mentioned in the film, but I am going to mention it here because they might come into play in the next movie that we watch, or that I watch. And I think it's called The Predator. It's the 2018 one. It's sort of another Predator versus Predator situation, but this time it's on Earth, you know, it takes place. And we'll dig into all that. But I want to bring it up here because this one very specifically shows that bigger doesn't really mean better. It just means more brutal, more aggressive, less noble, probably a little less noble. The smaller ones seem to have a little bit more honor. And the big ones are ugly, okay? I know that the Predator is not a handsome guy, but the big ones are fucking ugly. Oh, okay. So there's like some aesthetic and behavioral differences between the different sizes or different types of Predator. In fact, Nolan says something about it's the difference between a wolf and a dog, you know? And so I thought that was kind of cool. Anyway, okay. Back to our story. The end of this one, it's not that, like, you know, happy ending, there's our guy survives and whatever, and like they get off the planet like you're hoping. It just is survival. There's no victory ending. Yeah, like the big predators, the three of them die, but like our protagonist surviving just means they survive. They survive the encounter and the whole hunt, and then they look up and more parachutes are dropping in, meaning another hunt is about to begin. A fresh hunt, new prey arrives. This predator civilization continues. There's like more probably on this planet, which means that there might be another ship or another way off, but they have to get there. And so the movie closes with these two just walking off into the forest, like, you know, like, let's find a way off. And then it just ends. You're like, well, that wasn't very cathartic, you know, like our two lived. Isabelle was my favorite character, so I'm glad that she lived. But, you know, it was kind of like, oh, I guess, you know, it's just another illusion. It's just another moment that points to this is cyclical. These are cycles that these predators hunt in. I think that's, you know, that's kind of cool. So, okay, final thoughts. This movie's far more interested in the lore than people remember, I think, which I love. It expands everything. Introduces factions and preserves. I think that's kind of cool. Like, it's a little bit richer in the history. It turns humans into like game animals or Colosseum prey rather than just like, okay, we're gonna go to your planet. You know, it's a new take on it, a new twist. I think it's really fun. You guys let me know what you think, and I will see you in the next episode.